Olympic National Park, 600 East Park Avenue, Port Angeles, Washington, 98362. This mountain wilderness contains the finest remnant of Pacific Northwest rainforest. The park features alpine meadows, lakes, and streams. The Olympic Mountains tower more than 5,000 feet, and there are at least 60 glaciers in the mountains. In addition, there are 50 miles of wild scenic ocean shore. Rare Roosevelt elk are among the many kinds of animals found in the park. Acreage 914,576.46. Ross Lake National Recreation Area, 800 State Street, Sedro-Woolley, Washington, 98284. Ringed by mountains, the National Recreation Area offers many outdoor recreation opportunities along the upper reaches of the Skagit River between the north and south units of North Cascades National Park. Acreage 117,574.09. San Juan Island National Historical Park, P.O. Box 429, Friday Harbor, Washington, 98250. This park marks the historic events on the island from 1853 to 1872 in connection with final settlement of the Oregon Territory's northern boundary, including the so-called Pig War of 1859. Acreage 1,751.99. Whitman Mission National Historic Site, Route 2, Box 247, Walla Walla, Washington, 99362. Dr. and Miss Marcus Whitman ministered to spiritual and physical needs of the Indians here until they were slain by a few of them in 1847. The mission was a landmark on the Oregon Trail. Acreage 98.15. West Virginia Appalachian National Scenic Trail. See Maine, Chesapeake and Ohio Canal National Historical Park. See Maryland, Harpers Ferry National Historical Park, P.O. Box 65, Harpers Ferry, West Virginia, 25425. Also in Maryland and Virginia. Because of its strategic location at the confluence of the Shenandoah and Potomac rivers, this town changed hands many times during the Civil War. John Brown's raid took place here in 1859. Acreage 2,238.37. New River Gorge National River, P.O. Draw V, perhaps the V is the Roman numeral 5, Oak Hill, West Virginia 25901. A rugged whitewater river flowing northward through deep canyons, the New is among the oldest rivers on the continent. The free-flowing 50-mile section from Hinton to Fayetteville is abundant in natural, scenic, historic, and recreational features. Acreage 62,024, Wisconsin, Apostle Islands National Lakeshore. Route 1, Box 4, Bayfield, Wisconsin 54814. 20 picturesque islands and an 11-mile strip of adjacent Bayfield Peninsula along the south shore of Lake Superior comprise this park. Acreage 67,884.84. Land area 16,321.90. Lower St. Croix National Scenic Riverway, CO St. Croix National Scenic Riverway, P.O. Box 708, St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin 54024. Also in Minnesota, recreational opportunities for much of the upper Midwest are provided here along this 27-mile segment of the St. Croix River, a component of the Wild and Scenic River System. Acreage 9,465.14. St. Croix National Scenic Riverway, P.O. Box 708, St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin 54024. Also in Minnesota, about 200 miles of the beautiful St. Croix River and its Namekagon tributary make up this area, an initial component of the National Wild and Scenic River System. Acreage 68,793.33. Wyoming, Bighorn Canyon National Recreation Area, C. Montana. Devil's Tower National Monument, Devil's Tower, Wyoming 82714. This 865-foot tower of columnar rock, the remains of a volcanic intrusion, is the nation's first national monument. Acreage 1,346.91. Fort Laramie National Historic Site, Fort Laramie, Wyoming 82212. A fur trade post once stood here, but the surviving buildings are those of a major military post that guarded covered wagon trails to the west. 1849 to 90. Acreage 832.45. Fossil Butte National Monument, P.O. Box 527, Kimmery, Wyoming 83101. An abundance of rare fish fossils 40 to 65 million years old is evidence of former habitation of this now semi-arid region. Acreage 8,198. Grand Teton National Park, P.O. Draw 170, Moose, Wyoming 83012. The most impressive part of the Teton region. This series of blue-gray peaks rising more than a mile above the sagebrush flats was once a noted landmark for Indians and, quote, mountain men, unquote. The park includes part of Jackson Hole, winter feeding ground of the largest American elk herd, acreage 310,520.94, John D. Rockefeller Jr. Memorial Parkway, C.O. Grand Teton National Park, P.O. Draw 170, Moose, Wyoming 83012, linking West Thumb in Yellowstone with the south entrance of Grand Teton National Park. This scenic 82-mile corridor commemorates Rockefeller's role in aiding establishment of many parks, including Grand Teton, acreage 23,777.22. Yellowstone National Park, P.O. Box 168, Yellowstone National Park, Wyoming 82190. Also in Montana and Idaho, Old Faithful and some 10,000 other geysers and hot springs make this the Earth's greatest geyser area. Here too are lakes, waterfalls, high mountain meadows, and the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone, all set apart in 1872 as the world's first national park, acreage 2,119,822.70. Declaration of Independence in Congress, July 4th, 1776. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to this separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to effect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the past king of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To provide this, or rather to prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessity for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the dispository of their public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representatives' houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time, after such dissolutions, to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers incapable of annihilation have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to present the populations of these states, he has endeavored to prevent the populations of these states for that purpose, obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their their migration hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of lands. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. My reading of the New Lexicon, Webster's Dictionary of the English Language Deluxe Encyclopedic Edition, comes to a pause with the Declaration of Independence in Congress, July 4th, 1776, on page B-1. If all goes well, I shall pick up here in at least 2 days from now. Thank you all for tuning in. Continue to enjoy your day.